under possible bombardment from the air, and there was nothing there, no gas station, no water, no anything. And that's with vehicles. You know, it was a 12-hour run. God is going to put water in the wilderness for them. I'll make rivers well up and fountains in the valley and turn the wilderness into a lake and dry ground with the water spread. I will put cedar trees, acacias, myrtles, olives in the desert. I will plant juniper so that people will know and see and observe and understand that the hand of the Lord has done this, that the Holy One of Israel has created this. And so on. Again, Cyrus 25. I roused him from the north to come, from the rising sun, the east. I summoned him by name, and he's going to name him when? About 2 chapters further along. Who is it that's being summoned? Ah, Jesus Christ? Possibly. But we know that later on it's Cyrus that's being summoned. I called him from the east. He has trampled the satraps like mortar. Here's the grapes of wrath coming in here. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. A lot of it taken from this kind of expression. Like a potter clay who predicted this from the beginning so he might know to foretold it long ago. Is it not right? And no one predicted it. But you see, it's Zionist. I had said in Zion before, and here they come. I had sent the bearer of good news. You see, the messenger is to Jerusalem to tell them that the exile is over, that the Jewish people are returning, and Cyrus is going to be the instrument for this return. Again, the servant. Here is my servant, my uphold, my chosen one, whom I have endowed. Now this is a strange little passage that people really do worry about. It's called the first song of the suffering servant, if you want to call it that. And of course he brings righteousness. He's crushed like a reed. He's wavering like flame. And he will establish, until, not he, but justice, rights to be established across the earth. The islands, even the Greeks are awaiting his law. Thus saith the God Yahweh, he who created the heavens, the creator God. So that's the first little sort of intimation of this suffering servant, who gave shape to the earth, the creator God, and what comes from it. I try to read the whole thing because you don't want to be accused of skipping something here, because this is so important to the history of the Western world. I, Yahweh, and he gave breath and life to the creatures. That's sort of like the Greek view of the anima, the soul, animals. I, Yahweh, it's also the view of the Old Testament of breathing life into the nostrils of Adam. I, Yahweh, have called you to serve the cause of right. I've taken you by the hand and formed you. I've appointed you as a covenant of the people, light of the nations. Now, you can take that and apply it, if you like, to the things you may wish to apply it to. The question now is it the people Israel? Is it puny might Israel? Is it my servant Israel? Or is it a messianic passage? Again, you'll have to decide that. I don't see any indication of a Davidic Messiah, but it may be. In any case, this suffering has occurred, but there's going to be righteousness. Sing a new hymn to the Lord. Let him praise resound on the earth. Let the sea and all that holds sing his praises. The islands, again, the islands, the islands, the islands. 10. The desert, Kedar, Selah. Selah means stone. I think it's Arabia Petra. Let them shout from the mountaintops. Let the people of the islands again, over and over again. Voices praise. And this is very important for Christianity here. Line 16, I will make the blind walk along the road, and I will turn darkness into light, so the blind to see. If that's, you feel, a miraculous sort of thing that he's expecting to occur, then that's been picked up in the Gospels in the presentation of the Messiah. I will turn darkness into light in the rocky places. These things I will do. To my mind, it's more like succoring the people who need to be helped in order to return and do the other things they need to do. Listen, here's the deaf that I will see, line 18. You blind is my servant, deaf as the messenger I sent, so you didn't hear him. And so on, more about justice, integrity. But the people is all pillaged and plundered, in dungeons, trapped in caves, looted, robbed. Back to Israel and Jacob, and the fact that they've been conquered, scattered, ruined, destroyed. That's in line 20 there, and of course, if you don't believe me, 2023, look at 24. Who handed Jacob over to the robbers? It's about Israel and Jacob. And Israel to the pillagers. Was it not the Lord? Okay, he did it to us. He caused this to happen to us. God calls us these things. Very dangerous philosophy, as we've seen. We have sinned against him. We refuse to follow his ways. You see, obey the Lord. Obey the law. Like you see, there's nothing anti-law about this. You can't get a Pauline version of this. You can't say that the law is no longer binding, that Moses brings darkness and so on and so forth. This is not against the law. You can't use this prophet for those ends, because this prophet is not saying that. This is not a fair use of the prophet to take things out of context. It is okay if Philo does that. Allegorically, you can do anything you want, but you see, you can't put this into a bowl of anti-law material. You can, but you can do anything you want, but it isn't fair to what the prophet is talking about. You see, the sin is that you didn't follow and obey the law. Therefore, I poured out and blazed anger, and the furies of war, that's what enveloped in flames and burned him and gave it. But now look, back to the theme. Poor might, weak Jacob. Look, now listen to what the Lord is saying. Who created Jacob? Who formed you, Israel? You see, the reason I'm reading it out loud again is I don't think you can read this and get all this from a reading by yourself alone, where all you're trying to do is get through it. In a class, if I go, and I don't think there's anything I can say that's more important than what Isaiah is saying, so I would really rather read every line here and then make sure that one gets it from Isaiah, and then you can weigh it yourself. Who formed you, Israel? Do not be afraid. I have redeemed you. Don't be afraid. Be not afraid. Israel, Jacob, I've called you by your name. You are mine. Even if you pass through the sea like the Red Sea, I will be with you. The Lord is my shepherd, 23rd Psalm. And through rivers they will not swallow you up. Even through fire, the book of Daniel, and the flames will not burn you. For I, the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, am your Savior.